I started playing bass in 1973. And it must have been about 76 or so that I saw on TV back when TV was black and white and you had to get up and change the channel to get one of the 3 channels. And I saw James Brown and I saw the bass player popping the strings, and I drove like 45 minutes to Nashua, New Hampshire, where they had the closest music store, and I got a bass off the wall, and the guy comes out and said, what are you doing? You're gonna break this thing, stop that, damn it. I certainly didn't invent chordal playing or harmonics or tapping, but I was, there when it was all put together, and I think was instrumental in that. And I remember Victor Wooten coming to a clinic I did when he was like 12 years old in Virginia Beach. And the point being that kids now, when they were my age, the formative age is when you're sort of like 13 to 16, really learning, cutting your teeth in music, this whole new vocabulary of what you're supposed to be able to do, from tapping and slapping, just didn't exist. Hi Carl, how are you? Don't call my mobile. Can you name where that ringtone is from? Kill Bill. Yes. I should impress you later with my custom-made ringtones. In my lifetime, just this whole new thing has evolved that sort of bass players are expected to know that just didn't exist. Of course, the folly of that is the people that learn bass like I learned computer or typing, where you just jump in the middle. You know what I'm saying? And right now, this is like my bass playing analogies. I sort of finger peck type, but if I could actually type, I could save myself an hour a day. So I've got this little disc and I'm going F, F, G, G, A, B, B, capital S, right? And if I have to get an email out, I'll go back to that. But I know that someday, if I keep practicing 5 minutes a day, could be this Christmas, could be next Easter, I'll be able to do that, And it's the same with practicing. But a lot of now people with bass, they'll jump in and they'll start when they never remember to start there, because they're in a hurry, or there's all this other cool stuff. When I'm doing my solo bass stuff, I'm trying to tell a story, and by adding sliding harmonics or pinched harmonics or chords, I'm able to use more interesting vocabulary. Because I think if the story you're trying to say is, look how fast I can play E minor funk, unless you're Mark King, that's a pretty boring story that has been oft told, that everyone's heard before. So that's the danger of technology, I guess. It's music, it's supposed to sound good. That's the main thing. I'll say, play me a G major scale. Right? And I'm talking about, every note, the same volume, the same space between the notes, which is not very much. It should always serve the music, and I have found that the better the music is, and the more I trust it, the less I can play. If you're playing like a straight ahead thing at the jazz gig and the drummer's just playing quarter notes and you're playing all of me, and you can just, play whole notes, it sounds great. But it always happens if people think the music isn't good enough and they try to overplay to compensate. Every time I design a bass, I do something a little different. This is different than the Washburn bass that I designed, which was different than the Fender bass that I designed. And having said all that, what technology should do and an amplifier and an instrument is to amplify your sound and not create it. I've been using active electronics since about 1978. I think I had my first EMGs put in. Some tend to really squash the sound, but the X's really have a lot of dynamic range. And it really helps in the solo playing. But the funny thing is that the sound really is, and sadly in the fingers, the story is that Les Paul was playing a gig and he took a break and he walked to the bar and the guy says, hey man, your guitar sounds great. And he points over to it and he says, really? How does it sound now? And when we were doing the B×3 tour, Jeff Berlin was playing his Dean bass through his Mark bass amplifier, and Billy had his scallop fret Yamaha through 2 compressors and 2 Ampeg B15s. And when we would do the encore of Big Bottom and take our basses off and switch them and spank each other and just be general jackasses, when Jeff Berlin picked up Billy Sheehan's scallop fret Yamaha bass through compressors and you know, the B-15s, it still sounds like Jeff Berlin, you know, because I mean that's really, sadly, to all you manufacturers out there, you know, that's where the sound comes from. But for me, no, it's extremely important. I've been using the same gear for so long, and I'm fortunate now that the world is smaller, that I can go to Vladivostok or Tel Aviv, and if there's a Hartke 5500 head and 2 XL 4x10 cabinets, not high drives, not 4.5, just the XLs, and you know, I can adjust the truss rod so the action is just right, and I have a fresh set of boomers. Then it's really fun when it sounds good. But if any of those things is not right, then it just sounds awful to me, and that's when I start, you know, doing more damage to my wrist or shoulders, trying to physically work harder with this hand to create a sound you can't get out of. And you know, people send me new gear, new strings, and new amps. They sound great. They sound great. They're wonderful. But I just know how to work this certain, you know, set of gear I've been playing for 30 years. And again, when it sounds right and I really am in control of it, I really, really enjoy it. And I really, you know, there are days when I enjoy my playing, and obviously I'm incredibly critical and stuff. But when it all aligns right, man, it's the most rewarding thing in the world. But the danger is when it's not. It can be a real drag. I got to check my email, so.